week, we're talking about weddings!
Live on tape from Capture Production Studios in beautiful downtown Bridgeville, it's Consumer Sense with Dr. Audrey Gusky. Here to make sense of it all, Audrey Gusky.
Welcome to Consumer Sense. I'm Dr. Audrey Gusky. This week's show focuses on weddings. Now you may be asking yourself, why are they doing a wedding show in October? But believe it or not, there are more October weddings than in June. October is now the new June. We're going to give you some tips on how to save money for weddings, and we're going to talk about the royal wedding. Oh yes, it was way back in May, but we want to see if it still has any kind of influence on Pittsburghers as they're planning their weddings. We also talked to a photographer, and we'll give you some tips on how to pick the best photographer. And are you looking for unique ideas for wedding gifts? We've got it here for you today on Consumer Sense. We'll go to Mo's Marketing Minute and talk about Facebook, as well as Iron City Innovations. We will talk about different Pittsburgh inventors. All this and more on Consumer Sense. The wedding industry is, hold on to your veils, brides, a $40 billion industry. The average wedding last year was $27,000. 20% of weddings are over $30,000, and about 12% of weddings are over $40,000. But keep your wedding in Pittsburgh. Manhattan weddings will run you on average over $70,000. Unbelievable. Now, about 1 billion people watched Kate and Will's wedding at a cost of about $1 billion. If your budget isn't quite that big and your guest list not that large, here are some tips to save you some money on your happy day. Average number of guests is 141. I guess someone had to come alone. Now, that's down from 149 the previous year. The trade-off is the number of guests versus the experience. The more guests you have, the less money you will have to spend on the entire wedding experience. 42% of couples went over budget. Now, even though weddings are very emotional and it's a once-in-a-lifetime deal, you can still negotiate and get what you want at the price you want to pay. The average price for a DJ is $900 versus a band is $3,000. So maybe go with the DJ. A wedding cake will run you $500. Maybe you can find something cheaper down the road. Average price for gowns, $1,000. Maybe you can find something on sale as well. Make the favors yourself, and for centerpieces, try simple candles or a bouquet of flowers from maybe flowers you pick from your own garden. If the planning gets to be too much for you, you could hire a wedding planner. But keep in mind the average wedding planner is about $1,000 or upwards of $2,500. No more bulging hot pink binders, brides. Grab your tablet and explore the apps available to you as a bride-to-be. Now, due to the tough economy, wedding costs were down last year by about 5%. So brides are getting smarter. Keep your wedding costs within reason, and you will walk down that aisle very happy, knowing that you've got some money left over for that honeymoon. Even though the royal wedding was way back in May, the influence of Will and Kate's wedding will continue to be felt for years. Future brides who are just starting to plan their weddings in the spring may not have their wedding until this coming spring. Here are some of the royal trends we will be seeing. Classic wedding gowns with simple veils. Kate's dress was reminiscent of the Grace Kelly era, who, as we all know, became the Princess of Monaco. Bridal gowns are romantic and flowy. Lace is big. Remember, it was in the Duchess's dress. Hair is long and wavy with tiaras. Brides are going for the natural look. Rumor has it that Kate did her own makeup for her wedding. Now, come on, do you really think so? This is the scoop. She had a professional do her makeup for her engagement shoot, but she didn't think she looked like herself, so she wiped it off and started over. But they say she did take professional lessons on how to apply makeup. Think neutral or white for bridesmaids' gowns. Or be trendy with bridesmaids' colors of turquoise, coral, yellow, or black and white. Flower girls are wearing the latest in wings and wands. How cute is that? Keep it local. Kate uses trees grown in their own region for the decorations. Greenery could be locally sourced. And pick vendors that are local as well. Remember, be kind to the environment. Bring the outdoors inside. Gemstone engagement rings are also a big deal nowadays. And at the reception, mix it up. Have some round tables and have some square tables. And here's some wild ideas. Pop out a bride and groom table, or have them both walk down the aisle on separate aisles and meet in the middle in front of their guests. Now, Pittsburghers can't live without our cookie tables. Did you know that this is totally a Pittsburgh tradition? How about a candy buffet? There's a new trend. Can you do it, Pittsburgh? I don't think so. Have guests sign pictures of the couple instead of a guest book. The trend for weddings this year is subtle luxury with creativity and personalization. Keep it personal, but put your personal stamp on everything. Have your own princess wedding and live happily ever after.
Will always be home.
Sports. I actually have neighbors that I talk to instead of Boston.
Go Pens. It's everything.
The new mango one is it. It's really good. It's really good, nice and sweet.
Mom and Dad are probably watching.
I drank it the first time it came out, and I've been drinking it ever since.
Man, I love Iron City. You got to support your own city. I lived here all my life.
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Butler, Pennsylvania.
Massachusetts.
Marysville, Pennsylvania. Washington, PA.
Shady Side.
Latrobe, Pennsylvania.
Pittsburgh, man.
Hi, I'm Terry Wardenis, president of the Gateway Clipper Fleet. Come on down to the river and see America's most livable city from the decks of one of our riverboats. You're going to have a great time.
Attention all homeowners and contractors. Get the job done right with Federoach Landscape Supply. They're Western Pennsylvania's leading supplier of topsoils, bark mulch, natural stone, gravel, even recycled tire mulch. Call Federoach Landscape Supply at 1-800-TOPSOIL.
Hi, I'm Terry Wardenis, president of the Gateway Clipper Fleet. Have your wedding, social, or corporate event aboard one of our riverboats, where you'll see a moving portrait of America's most livable city. Your guests are going to have a great time.
Know that there's a little bit of a touch of Europe here on the north side, and there's a lot of history, particularly with the Benedictine monks. With me today from the Briery is John Graff, who is the proprietor, owner, and operations manager, and we also have Jean Lucente, who is the sales manager. Welcome, gentlemen. It's great to be here. I think for our viewers who haven't been here, they don't realize what a beautiful facility this is and the intense history that you have. John, tell us a little bit about this place.
Well, it's really a neat facility. We're in a former Catholic church, and that serves as our banquet facility. And it was a church that was built in 1854 by the German, Swiss, and Austrian immigrants that had settled in this part of the north side, which was known at the time as Deutschtown. So they built this church and they worshipped in it for over 100 years until it was shut down in 1981. And then next door was a monastery. It was the St. Mary's Monastery, and this is the St. Mary's Catholic Church. And the monastery was built in 1888, and again was occupied till 1981. And what happened was that the Department of Transportation had condemned the properties, and they were going to tear them down to make way for Interstate 279. So fortunately, they were saved by the rerouting of that highway, and they came in our hands after that.
Yeah, what a blessing for the whole city. It would have been such a shame to have torn this down. If you were to give advice and tips to couples as they're planning their wedding in order to save some money, what types of advice would you give them?
Well, one thing I would do is if you're feeling a little budget conscious, be flexible about when you would do the wedding, would be advice number one. Because just like with airlines, just like with hotels, venues, ballrooms and country clubs, they have slack times, and they're going to want to fill those slack times, because if that day goes and you don't have an event in there, you can't get the day back. It's not like it's inventory you can resell. It's gone. So what they want to do is, if you come in on a date that they might not otherwise want to do it, and it could even be like a 4th of July weekend or something, so in the middle of like a prime time, but it's a date that's just not that attractive to people, you can come in and say, well, here's what I want to do. I'd like to, what can we do to make a deal on this? If you're open to a Sunday wedding, same thing. Fridays have become very popular, and cost cutting is a big reason for it. We've seen a lot more Friday weddings than we did 10 years ago. So that would be thing number one. But what applies to us as a venue, let's say, also applies to other vendors. So if we're having slack time, chances are so's the photographer, chances are so's the DJ, chances are so's the florist. So you can talk to each of them and say, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this on a time that you're probably likely not otherwise going to sell. Here's my budget. What can you do for me? Yeah. And many times they'll respond to that because they want to, they want to keep busy and they want to make some money rather than no money.
Now, John, tell me about this drawing that you had, that you were giving away a winter white wedding.
Right. Well, we came up with this winter white wedding concept about 4 years ago. And we wanted to try it out on somebody. And so the idea was, well, why don't we give one away and we'll see how it works. So, and then we were sort of cogitating on that. My mother actually came up with the idea. She said, well, if we're going to give one away, why don't we give away something that was done to somebody who's done something for the rest of us? So then we came up with the idea of giving one of the weddings away, the reception, to a service person that had served either in Iraq or Afghanistan. So that's where that idea came from. And basically what's happened the last 4 years, we've given reception away, and then we've actually recruited some partners to assist us. So we've recruited somebody to do the flowers, somebody to do the photography, somebody to do the DJ work, the cake we provide from our own bakery, so that we could just about donate every aspect of the wedding reception experience to that couple free of charge.
That's a wonderful, wonderful token of our appreciation to all the military people.
Yeah, it really is. It's a small thing, but the important thing I think from our point of view is to let these service people know and their families that there's people there that are thinking of them, and to remind other people that there's people out there are members of the armed forces who are in harm's way, and their families who are sacrificing a lot for the rest of us. So, it's our way to give a little bit back, but hopefully also to just kind of keep in the top of all our minds what it is that these folks are doing for us.
Sure, that's excellent, and we thank you for doing that. We're very happy to have you here today because we really want to talk about trends in weddings. Walter, tell us, what are some of the things that you guys are seeing regarding Pittsburgh trends for weddings?
Well, we're seeing people aren't doing traditional wedding cakes as much anymore. Some people are doing cupcake towers and things like that. The other things people are doing is non-traditional centerpieces. They may be sticks with candles hanging them, things like that, thinking outside the box.
Yeah, that really adds some kind of creativity. Walter, tell me, what is some advice that you can give to couples if they're trying to save money in this tough economy when they're planning their wedding?
Well, I tell a lot of couples, simple elegance is the way to go. If it's not in your budget, you don't need to have $200 per table centerpieces. A simple bubble bowl with some beautiful flowers in it looks just as good on a mirror with some candles around it. As people's eyes in this beautiful venue are drawn up, that becomes less of a focal point.
I love Pittsburgh, and you gotta love our traditional cookie table, which is such a unique, beautiful part of our heritage. Are there any other Pittsburgh traditions that you're seeing as people are planning their weddings?
We've seen over the last year, I think, increase in candy tables. A lot of brides want to either do it with the cookie table or a separate, kind of starting a new tradition with the candy tables, which is kind of neat. There's also the espresso bars or coffee bars with the biscottis and the treats for after dinner.
Thank you for joining us.
Absolutely.
Hi, I'm Terry Wardenis, president of the Gateway Clipper Fleet. Come on down to the river and see America's most livable city from the decks of one of our riverboats. You're going to have a great time.
Pittsburgh really is someplace special. That is why Jim Zaccone has introduced his Pittsburgh portfolio in amazing fine art prints and cards. You can order prints either matted or matted and custom framed. Each image is a slice of Pittsburgh and will enhance the decor of your office or home. These prints make wonderful gifts for anyone who loves Pittsburgh. You can view the entire portfolio by visiting Jim's website. The Pittsburgh images are also available at select retail outlets.
What are you doing? Tooling around. On a day like today? No, I'm tooling around.
Does your workshop look like this? Need some tools for an extra special project? Are you a professional sick of paying high prices from the superstores? Then come to Toolin' Around in the heart of beautiful downtown Bridgeville. If you're looking to buy a quality used tool or need fast cash, then come on down to Toolin' Around. Come on down to Toolin' Around.
Hi, I'm Terry Wardenis, President of the Gateway Clipper Fleet. Have your wedding, social, or corporate event aboard one of our riverboats, where you'll see a moving portrait of America's most livable city. Your guests were going to have a great time.
They say a picture is worth 1,000 words. So if you're trying to capture the times of your life, here are some tips for developing a relationship with a photographer. Stay focused when hiring a professional photographer. Pick someone you feel comfortable with and a studio that suits you. A photographer is an artist who creates images. Find someone who puts their heart and soul into their work. Don't hire someone over the phone. Stop by the studio to see samples of their work or go to the website. And don't hire only on price. Package deals may be a way to save some money. Don't select a photographer who cares more about scheduling time rather than your satisfaction. Check out the reputation of the photographer, make sure they're professionally certified and are members of a professional organization such as PPA, Professional Photographers of America, and ASP, American Society of Photographers. Ask for recommendations from family and friends. And picture this. Discuss what you want. Give them an idea what you envision the finished package to look like. If you want something creative that uses digital photography and high tech, let them know. If you only want the basics, make sure you tell them. Some photographers have developed a knack for special events, such as weddings, proms, or high school senior pictures. Hiring a professional photographer may be costly, but capturing your memories is priceless. Every week, we've been keeping you updated on the Pittsburgh Business Times Brand Madness competition. We are now down to 32 brands and well into round 2. Things are really heating up. The contenders for the Pittsburgh product division are Little Hugs is trying to squeeze out U.S. Steel, Iron City Beer versus Sarah's Candies, Zambelli Fireworks is fired up against the Terrible Towel, Heinz 57 is catching up to Primanti's. For the Pittsburgh Destination Division, we have the Pittsburgh Symphony battling it out with the Pittsburgh Zoo, the Andy Warhol Museum is duking it out with Heinz History Center, the Carnegie Science Center versus Kennywood, and PNC Park versus the Civic Arena. This is getting so exciting. Be sure to vote for your favorite brands this week at www.pittsburghbusinesstimes.com. Just like March Madness, keep up with your favorites in the brackets located on their website. We will announce the winners next week. Good luck, everyone. This week's Mo's Marketing Minute is about Facebook and the company's new take on the infamous like button. 5 years ago, people described what they liked because they were passionate about expressing their sentiments. Now, people will click a like button just to download a free PDF or to get a coupon for a free drink. Facebook made the like button a price of admission, and in doing so, they started the trend towards devaluing the idea of liking anything. Last week, at the F8 Developers Conference, they announced a fix that will not only change how you use Facebook, but it will also change the way that we generally perceive the value of liking something as well. As Mark Zuckerberg described in his keynote, you don't have to like a book, you can just read it. You don't have to like a movie, you can just watch a movie. Over the coming weeks, Facebook will launch a standard set of buttons for watching, reading, and listening, as well as using their open graph to let developers create buttons of their own. The Wall Street Journal notes that this will likely lead to an oversharing explosion as people get over the barrier of not wanting to broadcast an implied endorsement for something that they may just be consuming, but not really liking. This will help us all return to the importance that we have placed over the centuries of the idea of actually liking something.
We'll always be home.
Sports.
I actually have neighbors that I talk to instead of Boston.
Go Pens. It's everything.
The new mango one is it? It's really good. It's really good, nice and sweet.
Mom and Dad are probably watching.
I drank it the first time it came out, and I've been drinking it ever since.
Man, I love Iron City. You got to support your own city. I lived here all my life.
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Butler, Pennsylvania.
Massachusetts.
Marysville, Pennsylvania. Washington, PA.
Shadyside.
Latrobe, Pennsylvania.
Pittsburgh, man.
What are you doing? Tooling around. On a day like today?
No, I'm tooling around.
Does your workshop look like this? Need some tools for an extra special project? Are you a professional sick of paying high prices from the superstores? Then come to Toolin' Around in the heart of beautiful downtown Bridgeville. If you're looking to buy a quality used tool or need fast cash, then come on down to Toolin' Around. Come on down to Toolin' Around. Pittsburgh really is someplace special. That is why Jim Zaccone has introduced his Pittsburgh portfolio in amazing fine art prints and cards. You can order prints either matted or matted and custom framed. Each image is a slice of Pittsburgh and will enhance the decor of your office or home. These prints make wonderful gifts for anyone who loves Pittsburgh. You can view the entire portfolio by visiting Jim's website. The Pittsburgh images are also available at select retail outlets.
As an avid makeup lover, I found it difficult to find not only makeup that really made my personality pop, but was also natural. That led me to create a line of natural, yet highly glamorous cosmetics that allows crease-proof, all-day wear with vibrant colors, but healthy for the skin. This is Dr. Michael Huey saying find your obsession at obsessedminerals.com.
Pittsburgh has been the home of many famous inventors, including George Blaisdell, the inventor of the Zippo lighter. Zippo is still manufactured in Bradford, PA. Robert Fulton, the inventor of the commercial steamboat. He also designed a system of inland waterways, a steam warship, and a submarine. Samuel Langley, who launched the first rubber band-powered flying machine from the Allegheny Observatory in 1891. Maybe that's why we call them gum bands. And Dr. Jonas Salk, who developed the polio vaccine at the University of Pittsburgh. You will love this story. It was the most elaborate program of its kind at that time. It involved 20,000 physicians, 64,000 school personnel, and 220,000 volunteers. Over 1,800,000 children took part in the trial. When news of the vaccine's success was made public in 1955, Salk was hailed as a miracle worker, and the day almost became a national holiday. His sole focus had been to develop a safe and effective vaccine as rapidly as possible with no interest in personal profit. When he was asked in an interview who owned the patent to the vaccine, Salk replied, "There's no patent. Who could patent the sun?" Thank you, Dr. Salk. And George Westinghouse invented the railway air brake and was a pioneer of the electrical industry. Westinghouse was one of Thomas Edison's main rivals in the early implementation of the American electrical system. Westinghouse, in addition to founding Westinghouse Electric, founded 59 other companies. Iron City Innovations, the first snap-top can, the first aluminum cans, the first light beer, revolutionary inventions in packaging and products. That same creative spirit continues to drive them today. When it comes to their beer and their customers, Iron City settles for nothing but the best. Life is so fast-paced nowadays that we're all trying to capture the moment through videos and pictures. But how do you pick a photographer? With us today is Jim Zaccone from Jim Zaccone Photography, and he's going to give us some information about how you pick a photographer, particularly for weddings. Jim, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks
in
for
Consumer
having
Sense.
me.
Now, a young couple who's planning on getting married, what should they be looking for as far as picking a photographer?
Well, I think the very first thing they want to consider is the photographer's experience. And a good starting point, I think, is to talk to friends and relatives that may have hired a photographer already and see what their take is on the photographer they used. Were they happy with the results? Did everything go as planned? Was the photographer easy to work with? Because you're going to be with that person all day long at a wedding, the personality is important too. So you want to make sure it's somebody that's nice and low-key. They're not going to rile you up because people tend to be a little nervous on the wedding day to start with.
Oh, absolutely. Now, the latest trends in photography for weddings seems to be what they call photojournalism, which is, I guess, chronologically capturing the day of the wedding. Is that the type of style that you recommend?
Well, that's a great style to incorporate in an album. But a good photographer will have a background in the portrait style photography as well. And that allows him to use proper techniques in lighting, posing, and even though photojournalistic avoids posing, the photographer still needs to know what angles to capture the subjects at to make them look the best.
Now, you brought an album?
Yes.
Can we take a look at it and see what you've got?
Sure.
And I see these are some of your pose pictures.
Yes, I think they should be mixed in to just have some nice shots of the groups and so on.
Oh, they had on the Gateway Clipper. How wonderful.
Yes, the ceremony and the reception were both on the boat. Now, outdoor weddings are very popular, but there again, a portrait photographer knows the lighting styles and can use the bright sunlight to their advantage, whereas somebody that just is photographing with a camera on automatic, the sun could be a strong deterrent.
Could be a problem. Yeah. Gorgeous. Oh. Well, we thank you so very much for joining us on Consumer Sense today. Thank you. Hope you enjoyed the show this week. This week's Consumer Sense sensible moments were: even during an important time of your life, such as your wedding, be sure to be a wise, economical consumer. You can still have your dream wedding and not break your household budget. Take extreme couponing down a notch and do some realistic couponing. Save money and only invest a reasonable amount of time. Use Facebook's like option only when you really like something, like you like Consumer Sense. Catch us next week. Mary Bach will be here to tell you how she beat Walmart in a lawsuit against incorrect price information. And coming up in a future show, we'll have one of the stars of extreme couponing tell us what it's really like behind the scenes and tell us how it's really done. Make sure you tune in for that one. Become a part of the excitement and energy as Consumer Sense educates, entertains, and enriches the consumer experience. Like us on Facebook, Consumer Sense, and follow us on Twitter @Consumer Sense. Check out our website, draudreygusky.com. We include other tips to help you save time and money in the marketplace. We hope you tune in every week. Thank you for joining us on Consumer Sense, where we make sense for you.